Welcome to Table for One. I'm the narrator, and in today's video, I'm going to teach and play Embers, the newest 18-card wallet game from Button Shy Games. Let's get rolling. Alright, so I am set up now to teach and play a solo game of Embers. This is a new game from Button Shy Games. It was provided to me. So this is a preview copy. That means all of the artwork, the mechanics, the rules, the text and graphics, it's all subject to change, but I think it's all pretty locked in. And this game is coming to Kickstarter in September of 2025, so there's a link in the description if you would like to check that out. And I don't usually do this, I usually save my thoughts for the end, but the TLDR on this one is I really like this game, and I will personally be backing it on Kickstarter. When I make a video like this, I typically play the game about 10 times before I make the video, just to make sure I understand the mechanics and how everything works. This game, just for the fun of it, I've probably played closer to 40 times now because I just can't seem to stop playing it. So it's really good. So we've got the components here. There's one knight card. There are 5 hero cards and then 12 fire cards. And the fire cards have monsters on the back. The hero cards have level 2 heroes on the back. And the knight card is also double-sided. You see 4 and 3 on this side, 2 and 1 on this side. And so I think the best way to teach this game is just going to be to teach as I play. It's not a hard game to learn, but I do think the learning curve was a little bit higher than on some other Button Shy games I've played before, but it is well worth it. It's a really interesting game. And there are 3 difficulty modes. I'm going to show you how to play medium, and then once you understand the game at the end of the video, I will tell you how easy mode and hard mode work. The modifications are super simple, but I'll explain it at the end once we kind of know what we're doing. So what we're going to do to set up first is you take your knight card and you set it down on the table so that the 4 side is up, and then you're going to take all your fire cards and shuffle them up, fire side up. Remember, there are monsters on the back, but we're going to shuffle these up, and we're going to place all of them in a stack on top of this knight card. Take the top fire card, set it off to the side. This is called your forage pile. And then you take your 5 hero cards. You're going to shuffle those up. And again, they're all level 1 or level 2. You can tell by the number of hearts they have in the bottom right corner. They've got 1 heart on the level 1 side, 2 hearts on the level 2 side, and then the artwork is just a little bit bolder on the level 2 side. They've all got these different colored, like bright borders around their character when they're on level 2. But we're going to put them on level 1. Shuffle up your 5 heroes real quick, and then you're going to place them around the fire. And the fire has 8 locations around it. They're going to start north, south, east, and west. And the last one you're going to put to the side there in the tent. So just put the tent over by our forage pile. So now we've got our pile here. We've got our 4 heroes out. And in this game, we're trying to survive until dawn. And so monsters are going to be coming out and attacking us and attacking our fire and trying to dwindle that deck down. And so our job is going to be to defend the fire and ourselves from the monsters, as well as to forage more material to keep the fire going. And we want to last a number of rounds until we get to dawn. And then we win the game if we do. And if we don't make it to till dawn, then we lose. And the way that you would lose is you don't have enough cards in this deck to draw the cards that you need to draw. So if this deck ever runs out, you don't have enough cards to complete whatever action you're trying to complete, then the fire has died. We didn't make it till dawn. So the first step of each round is we need to spawn monsters. To do that, you're going to spawn 1 monster for each hero that you have out around this fire. You can have a maximum of 4. We start with 4 in play. So to do that, you take the top card from this deck, flip it over to reveal the monster, and then you look at the next card and you'll see one of the 8 locations around the fire is highlighted. So again, we've started north, south, east, and west, but there is also a northwest, a northeast, a southwest, and a southeast location around the fire. Now, you may only have 1 hero in any one spot. You cannot double them up. So 1 per spot, and they are closest to the fire. So these spots are called the camp spots. The monsters go further out like this. These spots are called the wilds. And so you can have monsters in the wilds, you can have any number of monsters in any single wild spot. And so there may be a hero in that spot like this, or there may not be. But anyway, so we've got this monster and we're going to spawn it here to the east. So that's where it wants to spawn. Now, when a monster spawns, if that location already has a hero, it's going to attempt to move because it doesn't want the hero to get in its way. It wants to attack the fire, right? So you'll notice it's got these icons on the bottom that kind of look like little claws or paw prints maybe. Each one of those is a movement point. So when this monster spawns, if there is a hero at that location, it'll spend one of its movement points, this one has 3, to move one location clockwise. And it'll continue to do that until it either reaches a spot with no hero or runs out of movement points. So we've spawned one monster now. We need to spawn, again, one for each hero. So the next one, this monster is going to spawn in the southwest location. The third one is going to spawn in the northeast. And the fourth one is going to spawn in the northwest. It does not always work out that way, but there we are. So the next thing that happens is the card that is now on the top of this fire deck has some text on it. That is the event for this round. So this next phase of the round is each of our heroes has 2 action points to spend, and we must resolve one hero at a time. So, we can't spend one action point from the leader, and then one from the scout, and then one from the leader again. Once the leader's done, and then we move on to somebody else. We choose the order and we choose the actions, but each hero has 2 action points to spend. And the icon for action points is this little diamond here. And this fire card, the event in this round says, choose one hero to receive 1 action point instead of 2. So these events are invariably going to be some sort of wrinkle in the game, something that'll make each round just a little bit more difficult, some sort of, unpredictable challenge. It's never going to be a bonus, so don't expect that. So now would be the time where we should talk about what these actions are. So each of these heroes has, on the level 1 side, 4 basic actions, I guess 5 basic actions, but 4 of them that are the same, that are identical between all the heroes. So the first is they can spend 1 action point to take this defend action, which is the shield icon. And so when you use the shield icon, you remove 1 monster from your location, from your current location. So there might be multiple monsters in the same location. Each action point you spend on a shield allows you to remove 1 monster. Now, when monsters are removed, you're going to set them aside. The rules say that they go into your hand, but just think of it as a discard pile. So we'll put the discard pile over here, right? So that's what the defend action is. So that's 1 action point per shield. The second action is forage, and it's this little log, 1 action point per forage. When you forage, you take the top card from this forage stack, and you also put that in that same discard pile. And where we're going with this is monsters that you defend or cards that you have foraged, you are going to add those back into your stack later. So that's going to keep your fire burning through the night. So you need to defend the monsters, and you're going to need to forage from time to time to keep that fire burning, or else you're going to run out of cards, and again, that's the loss condition. Now, the third action here is the bolster action. It kind of looks like a hand like this. It costs 2 action points, and when one of the heroes bolsters, they spend both of their action points to then give 1 action point to any other hero, and that is resolved immediately. So the hero that you select to receive that action point can then perform any of the actions that are available to them that cost 1 action point. They do that immediately. So that can give you some flexibility. That can be really helpful. The last basic action here that everybody has is, this is just the level up ability. So that costs 2 action points as well. And so if we had the scout spend both action points to level up, we would flip them to their level 2 side. And their level 2 sides get more powerful in a couple of different ways. Each character has 1 hit point on the level 1 side and 2 hit points on the level 2 side, so they get a little stronger. And then one of their abilities gets a little bit better. So in the case of the scout, when you flip the scout over to level 2, their bolster ability now only costs 1 action point, so they can bolster twice. So that's a really good support character. So let's look at the backsides of a couple of the other more straightforward characters. The defender, when you level them up, they can spend 1 action point to defend 2 cards in their location. So remember, the monster cards can be stacked up. You can have multiple in the same spot. So in this instance, the defender could spend just 1 action point to then defend against both of these monsters in 1 action, and then still have 1 more point left to spend. So that's the defender's level 2 side. The forager, as you might imagine when you flip them over, they can spend 1 action point to forage twice. So that would be take the top 2 cards from the forage pile and then add it into your discard pile here that's going to go back into your fire. So the forager gets better at foraging. The other two are a little bit different. We'll have to talk about these in a moment. The fire tender, when you level them up, they just get this passive ability that makes it harder for the monsters to attack your fire. I will demonstrate that. We'll show it when we get there, but that's a passive one. And then the leader's level 2 ability pertains to movement. So before I explain that level 2 ability, let's talk about movement, because that is the last basic action that everyone has, but everyone's movement is unique. So we'll start with the leaders because it's the simplest. This blue icon with a little white outline of a person in there, that means you, like this hero, it pertains to the hero on the card. If you see the opposite colors, a white card with a blue hero on it, that means any other hero. So we'll see that come into play. So the leader, you can spend 1 action point to move 1 space in any direction. It's a step action. So they can take a step this way, or they could take a step this way. Now, if they started their turn here, they could only take a step this way. They couldn't go through this scout because you may never occupy the same space at the same time with 2 heroes. But if they started here, they could step once and then use another action point to step a second time. And that may be an easy way for, for example, the scout could then bolster the leader to then use an action point to defend this monster. But anyway, that's how the leader moves. That's the most straightforward. The leader steps. The defender, their movement is a leap. So they have to have at least 1 adjacent hero, and then they can leap over any number of heroes. It's got the infinity sign under there, and land on the other side. So in this position, the defender cannot move because there is no adjacent hero. But if they were, say, here, they could leap over the leader and then land here. And if there were multiple heroes like this, they could leap over the leader and the scout and land immediately on the other side. That's how the defender moves. And the defender's movement does not change on the level 2 side. The movement stays the same. So the movement's a big part of this puzzle. The scout has a run and jump. So they must have exactly 1 empty space on one side of them and then a hero after that. And they will run and jump over that hero and land on the other side. And again, there's an infinity symbol there, just like the defenders. So that means if you've got multiple heroes all together, as long as you've got that 1 empty space, they run and jump and land on the other side. So the scouts can be a little bit difficult to set up, but it's definitely useful for getting them around the fire here. The fire tender is interesting. So the fire tender just leaps directly over the fire and lands on the other side. So the fire tender would move from here, from the west to the east. They jump straight over the fire. In the event that space is already occupied, they may leap over the fire and land in either adjacent space, and that is your choice. If, however, both of those spots are occupied, then the fire tender cannot move because this space is taken, that's taken, that's taken. You cannot keep going. You've only got those. You've got to go straight across if you can, and if that's occupied, you can choose either of the next adjacent spots. Now, if it looked like this, then the fire tender's only option would be they can't go here, so they would have to choose from these two, and this one's occupied as well, so they would have to go here. So that's how the fire tender's movement works. And lastly, let me show you the forager. The forager, it has an infinite number of empty spaces and then the next hero. So they do a power slide. So they could slide here until they reach the next hero. If they were like this, they could slide to here, but they cannot go over or through. And if the forager is boxed in like this, then they have no ability to move. So that's how everybody moves. So with that in mind, let me show you the leveled up leader. The leveled up leader's ability is they can spend 1 action point to move any other hero in a step fashion like the leader normally moves. So that can be convenient if somebody gets boxed in or you can't quite get them where you want. The leader can very easily just move them 1 space. That can actually be really powerful. So that's how everybody moves. That's leveling up. Those are the actions. I know that was a big section, so let me play out this round now and demonstrate some of this. So again, the first thing we did was spawn our monsters. Then there's this event. We need to choose 1 hero to receive only 1 action point instead of 2. And then we're going to spend all of our action points. And when we're done, then the next step is going to be the monster's attack. So let's figure out how we're going to spend these action points with these heroes. And I think I will give the single action point to the fire tender. So the fire tender will only have 1. So I'm going to start by moving the leader from here to here. Take 1 step, that's 1 action point. And then the second is going to be a defend. I'm going to defend against this monster. put it in the discard, or again, we can call that our hand. Put that to the side though. The next thing I'm going to do is have the scout move. So they're going to do a run and jump, land here, and then defend this monster. So we'll take that out, put it in our discard pile. Then I will have the defender do a movement action. So they do a leap. They're going to leap over these adjacent heroes, and then they're going to spend 1 action point on a defend action here. And then the fire tender is the one we chose to get only 1 action point instead of 2. And they're going to use that 1 action point to forage. So they're going to take this top card from the forage deck and put it over here. Now, once all the actions have been spent, you take whatever is in your discard pile, or again, you can call it in your hand, put it on the fire side, shuffle it up, and then you are going to add it to the bottom of the deck. And it's really important that this happens right now. It happens after you've spent your action points, but before the monsters get to counterattack. All right, so those are on the bottom now. So now it's the monster attack phase. So the monsters, there's going to be 1 or more monsters at probably multiple locations. At this time, we've just got the 1. But you choose 1 location at a time, and the monsters complete their attack until all the monsters are done. And if there are multiple cards in one space, you treat them as a single monster. Now, this is how the attack works. The monster is going to attack through the closest hero. So if there were a hero here, they would attack through this leader. And in the event that there is no hero in their space, then it's through the closest one. So you start checking adjacent spaces. Now the scout and the leader are equally spaced from this monster. So in this case, I get to choose one of them, and I'll choose the scout. Now we look at the symbols on all of the monster cards at this location. There just happens to be 1 right now. And there's a symbol that's not present here. It would be, so this is their movement points. There's a symbol where there's a little fire with a line through it. So first they do fire damage. You count up all those icons, and for each one you see, you remove a fire card and you place it in the bottom of the forage pile. Then these slash marks, you add up all of those, and each one of those is damage to the hero that you're attacking through. And so we said we'd go through the scout. It's doing 1 damage to the scout. The scout has 1 HP, so the scout is eliminated. So when a character is eliminated, they go to the tent. We'll talk about the tent more in a moment. Let's say the scout had been level 2. They would have 2 hit points. This would be 1 damage to the scout, so that would not take out the scout. And then after this attack is done, before you resolve the next attack, assuming there's more monsters, the HP refills in between. So you don't need to keep track of it. So once somebody is level 2, the only way to take them out is they have to take 2 or more damage simultaneously, all at once. So 1 damage like that would not take out the scout. But the scout was level 1, so they're going to take 1 damage. They've only got 1 HP, so they go to the tent. Just place them sideways like this next to any other characters you have in the tent. Now, once all the monsters have attacked, the last step is reinforcing. So you take any heroes who are in your tent who are not placed there this turn, so not the scout in this case, and you can then respawn them somewhere around the fire. And you can continue to do that until you either have no more available heroes to spawn, or until you have 4 heroes around the fire. 4 is the max. And so I can spawn the forager now, and the rules for spawning are, again, they cannot be in a space that already has a hero. They need to be in an empty space, and they cannot be in a space that has a monster if possible. If all empty spaces have monsters, then you can place them wherever you want. So I'm going to put the forager, I don't know, let's say here for now. And that is it for that round. So now I'll turn my scout vertical again so that I know that the scout is available on a future round. They're in the tent. And now we start by spawning monsters again. So this will go a little bit quicker. So we take the top card. This monster is going to start in the southwest. There's a hero there. They've got 2 movement points to spend. So they spend 1, 2 movement points. And here's that fire symbol with a line through it where they would attack the fire. So we may see that soon. So that was monster number 1. Again, we're spawning 1 monster for each hero in play. Here's monster number 2. They're going to spawn here. And there's nobody there, so they don't need to move. The third monster is going to spawn here, but there is a hero there, so they're going to spend an action point to move 1 space clockwise, and then, or a movement point, I should say. And then the 4th monster will spawn here in the northeast, per that card. And then there is a hero here, so they're going to spend a movement point to move 1 space here. Now we have an event. And this says, monsters with exactly 1 movement point, such as this one and this one here, require 2 shields to defeat. And so you can either have 1 character in that space take the one shield action twice, spend both their action points on it, or if you happen to have the level 2 defender, they can spend one action point on 2 shields. So this event is that monsters with only one movement point are twice as hard to defeat this round. So now that monsters are spawned, I can go ahead and take my actions. And I'm not going to lie, we're not in a good spot right now. So I am going to start, this will be really inefficient. I'm going to start with the Forager and have them power slide over to here. And I'm not going to have them take a second action. I could have them defend, but they've only got one shield, and this monster with this event will take 2 shields to defeat, so I kind of burn the second defend there, or the second action point. And then I'm going to have the Fire Tender jump over the fire, so use 1 action point to move, and that space is occupied, so they're going to land here. And they'll use their second action point to do a defend action, and I'm going to defend this monster here that's on top. So this goes to the discard pile. And then my leader, boy, this is an ugly round. I'm going to have them move and then waste their second action point. And the defender, they're going to spend both action points to bolster the leader. Oh no, that's not going to work. I was going to bolster the leader to defend, but this enemy with this event requires 2 shields to defend against. So I guess there's no need to move the leader. Let me do something different then. I guess instead I will have the leader bolster the Fire Tender to then do another shield against this monster who's got more than 3 movement points, so that's fine. That one's defended. And then finally, I'll have the defender use 1 action point to defend this monster who's got 2 movement points, so unaffected by the event. And they're not going to be able to do anything else. No other actions for the defender. So I did my best there. So we got 3 cards out of there. So we're going to shuffle these up. Now that we've spent all our points, put them on the bottom of this fire stack. And now the monsters attack. So there's 2 piles of monsters here. They're both piles of 1, and I get to resolve them in any order I want. Now in this case, I don't think it's really going to make a difference. Let's start with this one. So this monster is going to attack through the Forager. They have 1 fire damage, so we're going to take 1 fire, the top card from the fire stack, and put it in the Forage pile. And then 2 hero damage. The Forager's only got 1 health, so that is going to take out the Forager. They're going to go back to the tent. Now, notice they attacked through the Forager and did 1 fire damage. Now's the time to talk about the Fire Tender's special ability. So when they're on the level 2 side, they get this passive fire stoking ability. So when a monster attacks through a level 2 Fire Tender, that eliminates one of these crossed out fire symbols. So that's what the Fire Tender special ability is. Just, I said we'd come back to it. So this monster's attacked. Now we need this one. They need to attack either through the defender or through the leader. I think I'm going to go through the leader. And so they're going to do 2 fire damage. So we take the top 2 cards from the fire stack, put them in the Forage pile. And then they're also going to, I guess we resolve this immediately. So we've done the fire damage. We still need to do the hero damage, but this is the Knight card. And so when this is revealed, we have this level up symbol. So we can immediately take any of our heroes and flip them to their level 2 side. So at this point, I think it'd be silly to not do the leader. We're going to level up the leader. Now we take this card, we flip it from 4 to 3 and put it on the bottom of the deck. So again, that's our timer. We're trying to get all the way down to 0 on that one. But now we finish this attack. We do 1 damage through the leader. The leader has 2 health, so the leader does not have to go back to the tent. They're okay. And that is all of the attacking. So the monster phase is over. Now we can reinforce. We can take our scout here and place them somewhere around the fire where there's not already a hero and where there's not a monster. So I think I'm going to go here because the scout's movement kind of wants an empty space and then another hero. So that will give the scout the most flexibility to get to maybe one of those 2 spaces. So now our Forager, we'll just put them vertical up in the tent like this. And now we need to spawn 1, 2, 3, 4 more monsters. So the first one is going to spawn to the south east. There's already a hero there. They're going to spend a movement point to go here. Second monster is going southwest. They're going to use a movement point to go here. Third monster is going to go to the east and just stay there. Excuse me, just stay there. And the fourth monster is going to go to the southwest and then use a movement point to go here. So we've spawned our 4 monsters, and the event this time is no heroes may bolster. So no bolster actions this round. So let's figure out how we want to move. So I'm going to start with the scout. I'm going to have them do their run and jump move to move over to this location. That was their first action point, and the second will be to defend. And I'm going to defend. I could choose either of these monsters. This one is going to do 2 fire damage and then 1 to heroes. The one below it does 1 fire damage and 2 to heroes. I think I'd rather hit the heroes than the fire because the fire is our timer. So I'm going to put this over here. So we've now moved and defended. And then sometimes I like to flip the card around like this away from the fire to remind me that I've already taken all the actions for that hero. So I'm going to have the fire tender go next. They're going to leap across the fire and then land in this space here. Is that what I want to do? No, I'm going to have them land in this space here. And then also spend 1 action point on defending. This one damages the fire and this one doesn't, so I'm going to defend against that one. I'll flip them around. Next, I'll have the leader use their regular movement ability to move this defender 1 space. That is not a bolster. That is just their movement ability. The level 2 leader can move another character 1 step. And they're going to use their second action point to forage 1. So we're going to take the top card from the forage stack, put that in our hand here. And lastly, it's the defender. And I am going to have them defend against this monster and then use their second action point to forage as well. So now I'm going to turn these cards back around. And how many cards do we get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's pretty decent. I usually aim for 6. But we're going to shuffle these up, put them on the bottom of the stack. And now the remaining monsters attack. And we've got 3 stacks of monsters. And so I'm going to start with this one. It's going to attack through the scout to do 1 fire damage. So that goes to the bottom of the forage pile. And 2 hero damage. The scout only has 1 HP, so that takes out the scout. Next, I'm going to do this one. So this one it's going to attack through the fire tender. Doesn't do any fire damage, but does 2 hero damage. So we lose our fire tender as well. And then finally, this one, the closest hero is the leader. So I'm going to attack through the leader, 1 fire damage and 1 hero damage. But our leader has 2 health, so the leader gets to stay. Now we can reinforce. So I can deploy the forager somewhere. Let's put the forager here, I think. And I can't deploy the fire tender or the scout. They're both in the tent now. So now we go to the next round. We're going to spawn our monsters. So we have this one, and we're going to set this aside because we immediately resolve this. So we can level up one of these 2. What do I have in the forage stack? 1, 2, 3. It's going to be more important to me, do I think, to double forage or double defend? I think double forage. I'm going to level up my forager. Now we flip this card to its 2 side. Put that at the bottom of the stack, and now we continue. So this was our first monster. It's going to start out northeast, and then there's a hero there, so it's going to spend a movement point. Monster number 2 is going to start in the south. Monster number 3 is going to start in the southeast and then use a movement point. Oh boy, they're really stacked up there. And monster 4 is going to go in the southwest. So we've only got 2 cards left in this stack. We've really got to get some cards back this time. And the event this time is no heroes may promote. So you cannot take the promote action on the hero. It does say other effects may still flip them. So for example, if you were to somehow find that knight card, you could use that to promote, but they cannot promote themselves. You can't take that promotion action. Or I think I've been calling it level up. You cannot take the level up action. And so I do think we're in some peril here. But I think I'll start with the defender, who's going to leap over the leader to here and then use a action point to defend. And let's take out this one. This one's got, they both do 1 fire damage, but this one does 2 hero damage. This one only does 1. Either way, it's going to take out the defender, but let's at least get this one off the board. So that's all the defender's actions. And next, I'm going to use the leader to move the forager 1 space. And then do 1 forage. So take the top card from the forage stack, put it here. So that's it for the leader. And now the forager, I would like to use the forage action to get 2 cards this way. I think I'm going to lose the forager no matter what. So yeah, let's go ahead. We'll do the forage action for 2. We'll get 2 cards here. And then the defend action to remove one of these cards. All 3 of them do 1 fire damage, but the middle one does 2 hero damage. So that's the one I want to get rid of the most. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards. Not enough. There's a lot of cards in play. So it's looking like I might not make it. So we're going to shuffle these up, put them on the bottom of the deck, flip these cards around, and now the monsters get to attack. This is going to be really brutal. Where do I want to start? We'll start with We'll start with this one. So this one's going to attack through the forager, do 2 fire damage, 1, 2. At this point, I may promote right now. So I'm going to promote the defender, flip this to 1, put it on the bottom of the stack. And then this one's done with 2 fire damage. Now it does its 1 hero damage to the forager, who's got 2 health, so that's fine. I'm going to flip this around so I don't get confused. All right, so this did help. I'm going to have this monster attack next through the defender. 1 fire damage, that goes to the bottom of the forage pile. 1 hero damage, but the defender's got 2 health now, so they're going to remain. And now I've got 2 more attacks to do. I guess the order doesn't really matter. I'll start here. There are 2 fire damage. So they're going through the forager, 2 more fire damage. Ooh, boy. And 2 hero damage. That is going to take out the foragers. So they flip to level 1, go to the tent. And then finally, this monster does no fire damage, but 2 hero damage. The closest hero is the leader. So I lose the leader as well. That might be it. I don't know if I'm going to have enough cards to continue. So we'll flip these around. I get to reinforce. So I'll put the scout here and the fire tender here, I suppose. Then I need to spawn 3 more monsters because I've only got 3 heroes in play. So the first one spawns here. The second, oh no, the second there's no more cards to tell me where to spawn the hero, or where to spawn the monster. So I have run out of cards. I have lost the game. The deck is empty. Let's pretend there were some more cards just for a second. So when you reveal this card, there's a 1 left. This one does not have that promote icon, so you don't get to promote the last time. But once you've revealed this 1, set it to the side, and that signals that this is the last round. So you just continue spawning or doing whatever it is you are doing. And when you get all the way through the round where you spawn your monsters, spend your action points, and then monsters attack, and then you can reinforce, then you have won the game if you have made it to that point and you still have any fire cards left in your stack. So that is how the game is played. I hope that made sense. Let me show you real quick. If you want to play, that was on medium mode. If you want to play on easy mode, some of the events you'll notice have this exclamation point. If you play on easy mode, you just ignore any of those events with the exclamation points. Those are some of the harder events. If you want to play on hard mode, then you do exactly what I did here, but you ignore the promotion icons on this night card. So that would be hard mode. So again, I've played this game a number of times, like a lot of times. And I've had some streaks where I've been really successful, like a bunch of times in a row. And I thought, oh, maybe I've solved this game. And then I go through streaks where I lose a bunch of games in a row. And I'm like, maybe this thing's not as easy as I thought. So I really like the gameplay loop. I like the difficulty. I think it's fun. It's interesting. I am definitely going to back it. And I'm thinking about playing a second game right now just to see if I can get a win. So maybe I'll play it a little bit faster and see if I can get a win out of this. So give me just a second to get it set up here because I'm just that excited about it. So I'm going to play a little bit more quickly. Here's our forage deck. I'm going to shuffle our heroes. I'm not going to teach as I go this time. I'm just going to play it real quick. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4 defenders in the tent. Let's spawn some monsters. This one goes here, it moves. This one goes here, it moves. This one goes here. All monsters have at least 1 movement point, by the way, so that makes it easy to set up. Heroes require 2 action points to forage this round. All right, so 2 fire damage there, 2 hero damage. That one's rough. 1 hero damage here, 1 fire damage here. How do I want to handle this? I think I want the scout to run and jump here and then defend 1. So the scout's gone. Now I want the leader to move 1 space and defend 1. So they're done. I would like the forager to bolster the scout to defend again. And then I will have the fire tender jump across and forage. I'm having them jump across because they're going to be the target of this attack. I'd rather keep the forager out at this time. So that was it. These go back in the stack, shuffle them up, put them on the bottom. And now monsters attack, so it's got to go through the closest hero. It's going to go through the fire tender because it's equal distance, forager and fire tender. So I choose fire tender, no fire damage, but 1 hero damage. Fire tender goes to the tent. Now I can reinforce, but the defender, spawn 4 more monsters. This one's going to go here, spend 1 movement point. It's out of points. This one spawns here, spends 1 movement point. It's out of points. Third one is coming here, and the fourth one is going to be here. All right. And there is no forage pile right now. Well, I'm going to have the leader promote themselves. Oh wait, what are the actions? No more than 2 heroes may defend. Okay, only 2 can defend this time. I think that'll be fine. I'm going to have the leader promote, and then I'll flip them around. I'm going to have the forager defend. So they're one of my 2 defenders. And then they're going to move. They'll move, power slide all the way to here. Then I'll flip them around. My defender, I'm going to have them defend and then leap over to here. So they've gone twice. Now my scout may not defend, but I'm going to have them bolster. They're going to bolster one of these 2 to defend. And these cards are really the same. So who do I want to get taken out, I guess? Because there's not really much of a forage pile right now. I'm going to have the scout bolster the defender, who will then defend this. All right, so now we can flip these back around. Everybody's gone. I'm going to shuffle these 3 cards, get them back into the bottom of the pile. Monsters are going to attack. This monster is going to attack. They're equal distant from the defender and the scout. I'm going to select the scout. Is that what I'm going to do? Maybe I'll select the defender, actually. I'll do the defender. Take out the defender. No fire damage, just 1 hero damage. This monster is going to go through the forager. 1 fire damage, 1 hero damage. So I lost the forager and the defender. That's kind of rough. Now I can respawn. I'll put the fire tender here. And now I need to spawn 3 monsters. The top one starts here. It's going to stay there. The second one, I'm going to pause and level somebody up. I'm going to level up the scout. Flip this to 3, put it on the bottom. So this is my second monster. It's going to spawn here, use a movement point. And the third one is going to spawn here. Boy, that's a big spot, huh? And the event is, if monsters are stacked, only the top monster may be defeated. That's kind of rough. And how many cards do I have here in the forage pile? Just 1. Not too bad. I've really got to defend against some monsters. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to have the scout run and jump and then defend. I'm going to have the leader step and defend. And the fire tender, I am just going to promote. And that's going to be it. So now the monster, oh, now I got to shuffle these. Shuffle both, all 2 cards, put them on the bottom. Now the monsters attack. It's all treated as 1 monster. So 1, 2, 3 fire damage. They're going to go through the fire tender. So that's going to eliminate 1 of those damage. So just 2 fire cards. And then 2 hero damage. That's going to take out the fire tender. Now I can put these guys back out. Let's put the forager here and the defender here. Maybe I can promote them and jump them. Oh, wait, but I've got the leader up. Maybe I'll put the defender here. I want to get the defender promoted and here. Maybe we'll just spread out the forager a little bit. I don't know where I want the forager. Let's do that. Okay, now we spawn some cards. We need 4 more monsters. The first one goes here. The second goes here. The third goes here and moves. The fourth goes somewhere. We've got to promote somebody. Let's promote the defender. That is convenient. Put this on 2 now. Boy, the stack is low. This last monster goes here. Okay, so I'm definitely going to start with the defender moving. Nope, not the defender can't move that way. Oh, and choose 1 hero to receive 1 action point instead of 2. Man, I think the scout. I'm going to give the scout just 1. So I'm going to start with the leader. I'm going to have the leader move 1 space and move the defender 1 space because that's what they can do. So that was the leader's turn. The defender, I'm going to use 1 action point to defend twice. We're going to defend these 2. That's really helpful. And then they're going to use their second action point to forage 1. I think that's probably the best use of their skills right now. So the defender's done. The forager is going to just take the forage action twice, get 2 more cards that way. And the scout has only 1 action point, but they can take the bolster action for 1 action point. So they're going to bolster the leader, who is then going to use it to defend against this enemy. So that was all of the actions. We'll flip them back around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that was better. Building our deck back up. Shuffle, 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 shuffle. These go to the bottom of the deck, and now the monsters attack. So this one is going to attack through the defender. No fire damage, just 1 hero damage. They got 2 hero health, so nothing happens there. This one is equal distant from these 2, so let's have them go through the defender again. It's going to be 2 fire damage. Somebody gets promoted right away. I guess it's the forager. And 1 hero damage. And again, the defender's fine with that. And then finally, this one attacks through the leader. 1 fire damage, 2 hero damage. So we lose our leader. We can reinforce with the fire tender. So I guess I'll go here. And now we spawn 4 more monsters. Oh, and the leader can go back here now. So, all right, 4 monsters. We've got one is going here. The second, oh man, it's also going there. The third is going to go here. 1 movement point. And the fourth, oh boy, this is really close, goes here, spends 1, 2 movement points. And if monsters are stacked, only the top monster may be defeated. Oh no, not again. All right, what do we have in the forage pile? We have 3. Man, that event stinks though. I've got a monster here. It's the second one down and the second one down in this stack too. Do 2 fire damage. And I just really, really need to clean those up. But here's what I'll do. I'll start with the defender. The defender is going to defend with 1 action point there and then leap like this. And then I'll flip them around. Next, I will have the fire tender defend 1 here. Again, they can only take the top one. And then they're going to leap across the fire. And I'll flip them around. Next, I will have the forager do the forage action, and they're the promoted forager, so they get 2 from the forage pile into this stack. And then I can either use my other action point to forage again, or I could slide them over, power slide them over to here so that they're ready to defend here on the next round. And I think I had better grab this. Let's forage a second time. So the forage is done, and now we have the promoted scout who is going to do the bolster action for just 1 action point, and they're going to bolster the defender and then bolster the fire tender. And in each case, they're going to defend. So this defender, even though they have 2 shields, they can only defend because of this event the top monster. So we're going to defeat this one, which still had 2 fire damage, so that's really important. The fire tender is going to do the other. All right, I think that's about as good as we could have done. So how many cards? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Not too bad. So let's shuffle these up and put them on the bottom of the stack. And we can now flip the heroes back around. And now the monsters attack. And I'll start with this one. They'll go through the forager. So they're going to do 2 fire damage. Ooh. And this is at once the signals this is the last round. So if we survive this round, then we win the game. So that was 1 fire damage, and here's the second, and then 1 damage to the forager. That's fine. This monster here is going to go through the fire tender. I wish this was a promoted fire tender, but it's not. So 1 fire damage, no hero damage. And I guess technically that goes to the bottom of the stack. And then finally, this monster is going to go through the defender, 3 fire damage, 1, 2, 3 to the bottom of the stack, and then 3 hero damage, which is enough to take out the defender. They go to the tent. Now I have the reinforcement step. I'll put the leader out, and that is the end of the round. And there is 1 fire card left. Oh, that's awesome. So that was really down to the wire. If another round was going to be after this, I would not have enough fire cards to spawn the 4 monsters that I need. So that was really close. That was a good, close, exciting game. I had fun. So hopefully that all made sense to you, but man, I had a blast. I really like this game, and I could probably just sit here and play it like 4 or 5 more times in a row, and I might just do that. So let me give some final thoughts here. I obviously really like the gameplay. I think it's a lot of fun. I like the art on the heroes specifically. I like that their level 2 side has this like bright banner, and if you pay attention, like this forager starts with like a dagger and a 1-sided axe, and then when they level up, they've got a 2-sided axe. So it's just some interesting things on the artwork for the heroes. And then I really like that, the heroes are closer to the fire, so their colors are these bright reds and yellows. They're like being lit by the fire, while the monsters are further away and they're in these dark blues. And then just the puzzle of how to move these characters around and in what order and who to promote and what actions to take. It's a really interesting puzzle, and it's just different from round to round, not to mention from game to game. And so in different playthroughs, in my experience, each of these heroes, like having their promoted side, their level 2 side, has been really important just individually across different games. Like sometimes it's been super important to have a level 2 defender, and sometimes it's way more important that I have this level 2 leader. So I like that versatility, and then part of the fun is trying to figure out, who do I need to be promoted this game? So just really interesting decision space all around. And so as I said, I am going to back this on Kickstarter. I'm interested in it. And the Kickstarter's not up at time of recording, but typically for these Button Shy games, on the initial release, there is like a free expansion. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's an expansion with this. And the typical model is there'll be a wallet game released, and then over time they'll release generally 4 expansions for it to make another 18 cards and a second wallet. That's not always what they do. But they do it frequently enough that if they do it with this game, and I'm anticipating that they will, I can see buying all the expansions and having a second wallet for this one. This is way up there on my Button Shy games list of favorite games. So I can easily see adding different characters who do different interesting things that you can either include and just have more than 5 available, or just shuffle some in and take some out at random, so there's only 5 per game. I can see them even having different night cards that give you different effects other than promote, certainly different monsters, and the fire effects in particular, or these, events, these event effects. The sky's the limit with those. And then there's still some untapped potential with the monsters. Of course, like I said, every one of these monsters has at least 1 movement point. I could see making some like quote unquote boss type monsters that might come out and it's just all fire, or it's all, 3 damage to any hero. So they're going to take out a hero. So there's room to play with those too. So it should be clear at this point, I'm excited about this game. But I've probably rambled about it enough at this point. So if you want to talk about Embers down in the comments, let's do that. Let's have a discussion. I'd be happy to talk to you down there. I would definitely love to know what you think. And you can probably expect me to play this on the channel again after I've got some expansions, which I just imagine are coming. So if you want to see that, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. Consider leaving a like here just to let me know that you'd be interested in that. And don't forget the Kickstarter link is down in the description. But that's what I've got this time on Table for One. Thank you so much for watching. I had an awesome time playing 2 games of Embers, and I'll probably play some more right away, but I hope you had a good time watching. As always, take it easy, and I will see you in the next video.